everybody. It's Mayor Jane again. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday morning. We had quite the weather this morning with a rainstorm that went through much needed water, but I think the wind may have been just a little bit excessive. But I thank you all for joining us this afternoon. As you know, I know it's broken everyone's heart in the city of Tampa that we have gone away from 5-day a week Facebook Live programs to only Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But we will still have them jam-packed with information that is pertinent not only to COVID-19, but to the ancillary issues that have affected so many of our citizens in the community. So just a little bit of an update on Dessa, the office dog as well. She's here running around, and some of you may know she had to have emergency surgery on Friday because she ate a number of things that a dog should not eat, which a couple of those included pieces of Velcro, and apparently everything else she ate attached to that. So she is back to her normal self, running around like a maniac, and we're trying our best to keep foreign objects away from her. All right, today my guest is the Suncoast Credit Union's president, Kevin Johnson. Welcome, Kevin. We appreciate you taking time out of your day. First, I want to give the updates on the COVID-19 situation. Cases are 1,653 total cases in Hillsborough County, including 55 deaths. As I often say, 55 is a number, but behind each one of those numbers is an individual who is left behind, family and loved ones. And so we are doing our best every single day, not only to reduce the number of positive cases, but to dramatically reduce the number of deaths associated with COVID-19 in our community. In Florida, we have 46,442 total cases with 1,997 deaths. Our cases are increasing as we said that they would, not only based on the number of tests we're doing, but the fact that we are opening back up and allowing in very limited situations and as safely as can possibly be done, individuals to come back out, open up certain businesses. So we're getting back up on our feet. We are monitoring all of those cases. There has not been a dramatic increase in the number of COVID cases in our community. So we're very pleased at those results. Also very pleased at the way that the community has responded not only to our safer at home order, but also the distance separation, the wearing of facial covering. Every time I go out, I see more and more individuals wearing facial covering. So I really think that's going to become a new normal for us in our community. And those are the two best ways to reduce this transmission and contraction of COVID-19 is social distancing and wearing of the facial coverings. So we're going to continue to beat that drum and try to get individuals to make sure that they are adhering to those requests. Also remember, if you do fall into the high risk category, whether by age or some type of a physical condition, please, please, please stay at home. That is, there's really no other way around that, because as we have more cases in our community, we have to do all we can to protect those that are at high risk. And we also have a task force that is looking at the nursing homes to ensure that we can keep the cases in nursing homes to a minimum. We also have the syndromic surveillance system out that's mapping all of the positive cases, not just in Hillsborough County, but in I believe it's 7-county area. So we're mapping all of that, and then public information on cell phone use and travel throughout those areas as well. And then symptoms, those individuals that are presenting themselves with symptoms to hospitals or other locations. So those things are mapped out so that we can identify any hotspots or breakouts and be able to get services down into those locations as quickly as possible. So while I'm on the number of cases, I'll just go ahead and talk again about the need to get tested please go out and get tested. The county still has the locations in the city. We have the drive-through at Raymond James Stadium. We also have the drive-through at Lee Davis Center. Advent Health still has their location, as far as I know, at Adventure Island, although you may have read in the paper, they contracted with 3 locations to process their collection kits. And one of the locations, they had issues with that particular location. It was estimated to be really a high number in the very beginning that were either inaccurately, I'm not sure which it was, they weren't specific in the article, either inaccurately processed or not processed at all. So they had to call these individuals, but it came out to be 6,000 cases in our particular geographic area. So those individuals will be called and probably retested, and those tests will be sent to another lab. Make sure you go get tested. It's free. You don't have to have any symptoms at all. All you have to do is call. You can call the Hillsborough County at 272-5900. 272-5900, and you can make an appointment at any of those locations. If you want to test and you're unable to make it to a location, you can also call and ask to have a unit sent to your house to do the testing as well. So please, we need everybody to get tested so that we can have an accurate picture of where this virus is in our community. Right now, we're testing 2% of the population. So get out there and get tested. All right, let's update on our programs, our relief programs. Onetampa.org. Make sure you go there if you're a small business owner. Remember, we put together $8 million with thank you to Kevin for a huge portion of that. But we put, not a huge portion, but a sizable donation, $8 million together to help out residents with rent, mortgage, utilities, and then small businesses as well. So we've closed up the residential portion of it. The small businesses, we anticipated we could help 800 businesses, and the applications that we got with the restrictions we put on it were nowhere near 800. And so what we've done is talk to the small businesses and some subject matter experts, and we've relaxed those restrictions. And so please go back. If you own a small business that is in a low income census tract or a community redevelopment area, CRA, then please go to onetampa.org. If you own a small business, you're not sure you're in those locations, go to onetampa.org. You can type in the address of your business and it'll tell you if you're in the eligible geographic areas. And then we've relaxed the restrictions. So basically, if you go in there and you were one of those businesses that had to close down, whether it was retail, restaurant, barbershop, beauty parlor, those types of things, then you will qualify. And it's up to $5,000 for rent, mortgage, and utility relief. So please go to onetampa.org. Our Lift Up Local Recovery Plan has been very, very popular. We're continuing with that. There were some of the restaurants along 7th Avenue that didn't want their portion of the street blocked. And so we've opened that back up. We still have between 16th and 17th and 17th and 18th barricaded off, as is Hyde Park Circle area down there with the restaurants, and then a couple of other down here on Franklin Street. So a couple of street areas closed off. A lot of restaurants are using their parking lots as well to be able to serve more customers. On Friday, the governor upped restaurant and retail capacity to 50% occupancy. So that will help out as well as they get back up on their feet. But as we all know, it's difficult for this virus to transmit this virus in an outdoor atmosphere. So the more we can do outdoors, the better. We've opened up the majority of our parks in the city of Tampa. We still have some of our recreational facilities are closed down, the actual indoor facilities, and then anything that requires contact. We're opening up tennis, pickleball, lap swimming by appointment, and then softball, baseball practice by appointment as well. So you can find all of that information on tampagov.net. All of our boat ramps are open. Lowry Park's closed. We opened up Davis Island because we finished all of the upgrades, and now we're upgrading to Lowry Park. So that one is closed right now. So the Lift Up Local Recovery Program is going very well. It's very well received, not only by the business owners, but by the public as well. It's really nice to go and have dinner, be able to sit out in the street under a umbrella. Very, very nice. All right. So we get all of the housekeeping out of the way, and now we get to speak with our incredible guest. So Kevin Johnson is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Suncoast Credit Union, and he's been in that position since 2016. Over his 34-year career at, I think Dessa just ate something. Somebody came chasing her in here. Over his 34-year career at Suncoast, Kevin has served in many roles, including most recently the EVP and the Chief Information Officer, where he provided organizational leadership for the credit union's technology and digital strategy. A University of Tampa alum, yes. Go Spartans, me too,
Go
although
Spartans.
there are many, many more years before you did. Johnson earned a bachelor's degree in business management. So thank you so much, Kevin, for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Mayor Castor, and I appreciate the opportunity. And I have to say, thank you for the leadership that you've shown during this crisis. And I've lived in Tampa all my life. I've seen a few mayors come and go, and I have to say, you're one of my favorites.
Oh,
and I love living in Tampa. I love leading an organization that serves almost 500,000 members that live or work in the Tampa Bay area.
Yes, and I am a huge fan of credit unions because of what you do for our community and the individuals that may not be able to get a loan, to have get a car, whatever it is that credit unions serve a unique population in our community, and we're very, very thankful for what you do. I personally have been a credit union member for probably 40 some of my 60 years. So thank you very
Fantastic.
much. All right.
Fantastic.
So let me know how Suncoast Credit Union is involved out in the community.
Well, we want to invest in the community because we want to see families grow and thrive. And which is why back in 1990, we formed our foundation, the Suncoast Credit Union Foundation. And since then, we've given back approximately $29 million back into the communities that we serve. And that's our foundation causes are supporting the health, education, and emotional well-being of the children of our communities. But the cool thing is how we fund that foundation is we put 2 cents in every time one of our members use their debit or credit card. We put 2 cents into the foundation, and that stays local. So all of the members that live in the Tampa Bay area that use their cards, they can say every time I use my card, 2 cents is going into the foundation, and then that's going back into supporting organizations to support those causes I just spoke about. So it's really an interesting way to set up a foundation.
Yes, it really is. And then to think of, you think 2 cents, everybody's putting their 2 cents worth.
That's right.
So it's amazing how that can accumulate into, just incredible amount of funding. Absolutely. That will do great things in our community. So it's wonderful.
Absolutely.
So how has the coronavirus affected your giving and your activities at your location?
We sponsor hundreds of events every year, festivals, walkathons, fairs our members are at. We do financial literacy workshops in community colleges, and we have student-run branches at elementary, middle, and high schools throughout the Tampa Bay area. So we really put our heart and soul into giving back to the community. We have about 1,900 employees, and I'm proud to say last year they donated or volunteered over 30,000 hours back into the community. So we're really proud of that. Unfortunately, the past 45, 60 days, we've not been able to be out there for obvious reasons. But it's not stopped us from continuing the financial support that we strongly believe in. And as we just talked about with the foundation, we're still providing the financial support back to those organizations.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of exposure since my retirement with credit unions and the way that the majority operate, and really, you're like a family. You know,
Yeah,
it really is a very, very close knit group of individuals that work together for the betterment of the community. It's not, I mean, it's not a knock on banks or anything, but credit unions really exist to serve the community with that focus on bettering the community one individual at a time. And so it really gives you,
absolutely.
you know, a commitment. It's not just being an employee at an organization, it's a commitment to the betterment of your community. So how is Suncoast Credit Union helping the community and those affected by COVID-19 specifically?
Well, after careful review, executives of the credit union made the decision to focus on three primary areas. Recently, we announced $1 million donation back into the community, and 20 organizations throughout Tampa Bay area is receiving funds from this $1 million donation, including the One Tampa Fund
Yes.
that you mentioned earlier. Yeah, Crisis Center of Tampa Bay, Tampa General Hospital, Feeding Tampa Bay, Seniors in Service. So we really looked throughout. We didn't want to give the full $1 million to one organization. We wanted to try to spread it out to hit several areas of need that we identified as needs. So, we wanted to tie it into our mission and our core values of the credit union as well. So we're really proud of the impact that it's already making in the community.
Yes, and it is. And the organizations that you mentioned have all stepped up in unique ways, but they've all stepped up in incredible ways to help our community. I think you and I
Absolutely.
talked about it. I go out on Saturdays and volunteer with Feeding Tampa Bay, and to see the number of individuals that come through and just get that, you can see all the numbers and the stats and everything, but until you see the effect of COVID-19 in the citizens in our community, it really, sometimes it takes that visual to hit home. But those all the Crisis Center, Seniors in Service, TGH, working
Yeah,
very closely with them, Crisis Center, all of those groups, Metropolitan Ministries. There's so many groups that are just doing amazing things right now. So how did you actually choose the recipients? Because there's so many different. I didn't threaten you when I called. Let's just, for the record, let's get that out. There was no threat. I just asked him. He said yes. That
that's right. Absolutely.
they would help.
No, we were happy to do it. We looked at the need out there. We've all heard about how heroic our frontline healthcare workers are, but I'm not sure that's the case in Tampa, but certainly nationwide, they're faced with shortages with PPE and being protected. So we wanted to make sure that we made an impact there. Uh, you know, we heard all the stories you just spoke about, some of the food banks being overwhelmed, people never having to rely on a food bank ever in their life, having to do that now. So we certainly wanted to address the hunger need out there. And then education is our roots. We were formed as Hillsborough County Teachers Credit Union so that teachers could pull their money together to support one another. So education is dear to our hearts. And we know that a lot of teachers and children are, navigating and struggling, being able to continue their education through the virtual channel. And we know that they could use our support too. So we wanted to cover those three areas of need. And then we looked at organizations that we felt like were really doing a good job of serving those needs, which is kind of how we focused on where we're going to direct the money.
Excellent, excellent. Everybody does it, and I've referenced the statistic in many of my Facebooks because it really is another one that hits home. When the Feeding Tampa Bay, they did their survey, to your point, 70% of the individuals in line had never received
Right.
anything from a food bank or from any organization in the past. They would be the ones that would be there volunteering to pass
Yep.
food out. So it is there are a lot of people doing great things in our community. It really makes me so proud of all of our citizens and all of the organizations that have come together. So many organizations have performed in silos in the past, and they've all come together now to find the best ways to serve. First and foremost, for food and shelter. That's what everyone needs. Those are the basic needs that we need to take care of. But even something else that I've referenced is a way that all of the medical professions have come together, all of the hospitals that are usually in competition here in the Tampa Bay area are all working together
Yeah.
now as one. So it really is great to see how everybody comes together. Now we talked about all the wonderful things that have happened in the silver linings. Now we got to talk about something that's
Yeah.
uh, not so nice, but something that everyone needs to be aware of. I know it first came to the surface when the checks were sent out that individuals were scamming on that. And I know now, I said everybody, number one, is realize they have a basement in Tampa, and number two, it's filled with N95 masks. A lot of the counterfeit PPE coming out as well. So there are a lot of scams out there, and a lot of
Yeah.
those are financial. So what should our audience know about that, and how can they make sure that they don't fall prey to some of these scams?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that people take advantage of times like this, and that's where they know it's the best time to do it because people are desperate. They're more likely to fall for a scam during these unique times. The advice I'd give is, if you want to make a lot of times they tug on your heartstrings. So some emails, a lot of times these scams are perpetrated through emails, and they ask for you to give money. If you want to give money to a charity, go to their website. Don't respond through an email. A lot of these emails that go out, not just for charitable ask, but for anything, have malicious attachments on them, telling you to open these attachments or a link inside the email. I would say never click on a link or open an attachment from an email from someone that you don't know. That's easy advice. I'd also say that not just Suncoast, but any financial institution's not going to call you up or text you or email you and ask you to provide personal information about yourself. That's simply not going to happen. So if you ever do get one of those emails or calls and you're not sure and you think you want to respond to it, I'd recommend that you just call your financial institution, call Suncoast, and ask them if the email or the text was legit. And that's the safest way to stay safe and not fall prey to these scams that unfortunately are prevalent at this time.
Yes, and that, we've gone over, we actually did a Facebook show specifically on the scams. And that is something that nobody's calling you, asking you for your personal information. No banks, the IRS, government, no one calls and asks for your social security number, your bank account, or any of that information. And then also remember that one of the scams is individuals calling saying that one of your relatives are in trouble or whatever. Individuals can find out so much information about you and your family
Right.
through social media. So if someone calls in those instances, make sure that you double check. You're calling your family, you're calling your bank to find out if they called you. Those types of going to the website of the particular charitable organization as opposed to dealing with someone on the phone. Also understand that even if they are legitimate, quite often the percentage that these phone banks charge uh, out of your donation is just incredible. The percentage that they will take off of the top before that money goes to the organization. So if you feel compelled to provide a donation to a particular organization,
Right.
go to that organization's
Right.
website and make that donation, because everything that you send will go directly to that group and not through the middleman that quite often takes a very big slice of
That's right.
the money. All right. So what has been the biggest challenge for the credit union during these unprecedented times?
Yeah, unfortunately, we have a lot of members that need help at this time, and we're getting a lot of phone calls into our member care center, which is our call center. For example, I give you some numbers. One day last week, we had over 25,000 calls into our care center. On a typical day, it could be 8 to 10,000 calls, so it's almost triple the number of calls. But fortunately, we can pull on resources from other areas. We've had to close some of our branch lobbies during the quarantine time, and we've been able to shift some of those resources over to the care center to be able to serve the members in that way. We have since reopened all of our lobbies, so now we're having to shift those resources back. But being able to be there for our members when they need us, we're still committed to that. We're just struggling with the volume a little bit right now, so just be patient with us. If you do have a little bit of a hold time, we're here to help you and serve you. Just try to be as patient as possible.
Yeah, that's true. We talk a lot about that with the patients because they're with the One Tampa relief fund that you so generously donated to. We had anticipated helping 2,500 residents, and we got 10,000 calls. So the
Yeah,
needs out there, and what happens is it overwhelms the call center. So again,
absolutely.
some patience, and just know that you're there for them. Sometimes it just takes a little while to get through. Now let's talk about, the frustration. Also talked to my good friend Claire Reynolds with the crisis center, and there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of frustration. There are a lot of stressful feelings and a lot of pressure out there. So, what steps are you taking, or what advice would you give to individuals who've lost their jobs, may not be able to make that car payment or make those mortgage payments? What kind of programs, if any, have you developed for your members to help them out?
Yeah, thank you for that question because it's really top of mind for a lot of consumers and members of Suncoast. We have had a host of requests to extend their car loans,
Mhm.
any other type of loan they have, even their mortgages. We've extended due dates up to 90 days at this
Oh,
point, which is one of the best ways, the biggest pieces of advice I would give to any consumer out there to contact their financial institution and make that request. I know most banks and credit unions are doing that, and we certainly have to. We've also waived many of the fees, even though our fees are very low compared to others. We've still waived those, and during this time, we're not charging a foreign transaction fee on any ATMs. We're not charging the NSF fee. We're not charging a penalty for certificate early withdrawals. We've also provided an emergency relief loan to many of our members. We actually dusted it off. We used it during Hurricane Irma a few years back. It's a low interest loan for our members. And we've had a lot of requests for that, and we've actually provided that loan out. We've actually we have businesses. Credit unions do serve businesses, and we've done over 1,600 paycheck protection loans through the SBA for our business members. So there's a lot of ways that we're helping, but every member's situation is unique, which kind of is what sets credit unions apart a little bit. Is that we find unique solutions for our members. One size doesn't fit all, and we really strive to be able to find out, okay, what can we offer? What kind of workout solution can we offer for each member that calls in?
Yeah, and that's good advice for the community as well. Is that look at first and foremost, have that conversation with whoever the creditors are, whether it's your credit union or it's your mortgage holder or car loan, where credit cards, whatever that is, have that conversation because everybody's, we're all in this together, and so you're not the only one that is struggling. So to have that conversation that, I can't make the payment this month, and then also look at some of the options. If you can go to your credit union, get a low interest rate that you may be able to combine some of those bills in and pay them with a lower interest, look at that as well. So there are
That's
a
right.
lot of solutions. You just have to look around
That's
and
right.
be vigilant, without a doubt. But that's very important. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about the PPP loan. So there was a segment of the funding, the second
Mhm.
CARES Act, that went specifically to credit unions and
That's right.
hometown banks to help smaller businesses where, I had a consulting business when I retired from the police department. So I was the CEO, I was the accountant, which was very frightening, might I add. But I was the market, I was it. You're a one-man band. And so when it comes to a lot of these forms to fill out, there might be a lot of, not hesitancy, but just stress involved, anxiety involved in just trying to fill out these applications and get them through. And so that's why a portion of it went to your bank and others like your bank, because you have that more of a one-on-one sort of a small town rep relationship with the businesses that you serve. And so how was that process for you? And how do you think it could have been improved? And just how was it for your bank or your credit union? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the Congress did a good job in the second round of the program. Like they did create the separate funds that you're referring to, and they had one big $250 billion fund, but then they had two $30 billion funds too. One $30 billion fund was for smaller banks of certain sizes, and then there was the third fund of that served the financial institutions of another size. But I was glad they did that because it enabled us to be able to offer and make loans to these smaller businesses. We on average we serve smaller businesses than much larger banks do. In fact, our average loan size for the PPP program was $28,000.
Oh yeah,
That's not a lot. That's not a huge, but it does show you the impact
yeah,
that we're making to the smaller businesses, right? I would say that the process was better the second time. It still was clunky. There was a lot of things that we had to navigate through the guidance from the government. They had to do this so quickly. The guidance was not clear on the forgiveness side. We're finally starting to get some guidance on how members and businesses get their loan forgiven so that we can give that information to the business members. So it wasn't smooth and flawless, but you know what? We got the job done. All of the members that applied for it, that qualified, we were able to get them the loan. So we're very happy about that.
yeah. That is great news, because I know the first round ran out really, really
It
quickly.
did.
So that is wonderful. And small businesses are the backbone of
That's right.
our community, and so we have to do everything we can to keep them moving along. Now, one of the things, and I'll tell you, that's the fastest I've ever seen the federal government move
That's
by
right.
getting that funding out very, very quickly. Now, um, they actually provided a time slot where the credit unions and the smaller loan institutions were able to submit, because the bigger banks, the Mac Daddies, the Bank of America, and those
Right.
groups, they were able to batch enter
That's right.
thousands of applications at a time. And so, it was so much easier for them. Now, did they give that time frame set aside in the very beginning, or did that happen after they realized it was a problem with you being
Yeah,
able to access the application process?
it was during the second round, and I think it was a six hour window, and it was after the sometime during that second round. It wasn't right at the beginning. Unfortunately, we're just over, I think, the threshold that they set, because we're the largest credit union in Florida, so we weren't able to process the loans during that time. But there were a lot of other smaller institutions that were able to do it, and I'm glad they set aside that window
Yeah.
so that those financial institutions could do the loans for their business
And
members.
that's the advice that we gave too, is go to your bank. A lot of banks didn't participate in it, with the loans. And so just keep moving, just keep
That's
going
right.
to banks until, if your bank doesn't do it, just keep going and going and apply wherever you possibly can. But I
Yeah.
know your businesses at your credit union, you want to deal with a familiar face, and you want to have that one-on-one um, customer service as well that credit unions are so well known for. So, what's the best way for people to do their banking during the COVID-19 outbreak? This is coming from a technological.
Yeah.
My son.
Yeah, a little biased here. I want our members to do this all the time, but no, we have 71 branch offices across the state, so we know that the branches do play a role. It is the preferred channel for many, but right now it's really not the best option for people. We really strongly encourage to be able to practice the social distancing and to remain as healthy as possible. Use the digital channels. We have an internet banking site. We have a mobile platform. You wouldn't believe the amount of transactions, the different types of transactions, the things that you can do through the digital channel now. It's just really come a long way in the last few years. You can make a deposit through your mobile phone. I think most people know that now, but if you're not comfortable, now's the time to try it. If there's ever a time to try it now. Give it a shot. Most people that are hesitant in trying it, once they do, they love it. It's very convenient. I would highly recommend doing that. I'd also recommend that you set up direct deposit with your financial institution or with Suncoast. That way if you don't want to use mobile deposits, then your paycheck would go directly into your account through direct deposit. It would keep you from having to visit a branch to make that deposit. We also have over 200 ATMs within our network, surcharge free, if you remember. And then we also have what we call interactive teller machines. They're machines like ATMs, but they have live tellers that serve you through the machine. So that avoids personal human contact right now. Even though you may like that human contact, right now is probably not the best time to have that contact. So that's a great channel to use during this time. I would definitely recommend taking advantage of this channel right now, even if you maybe go back after this is all over, but you may actually find that you like it and you keep using that channel.
That really is good advice, because you're talking to you're preaching to one of the worst offenders here. I'm the one that likes to get my newspaper and go to the post office to talk to people, bank, everything else. Well, I don't go there. I am a little technological there, and I do my bill pay the majority of it as
Good.
well. So I'm creeping up there, but it really is interesting. Individuals that just don't want to let go
That's
of
right.
physical contact, and I'm a little guilty of that. I must say, guilty as charged. All right, tell us the difference, because a lot of people have no idea. What is the difference between a bank and a credit union?
Well, I'll start off by saying how we're similar. We offer most of the same products, all of the products that you would get at a bank. Although a lot of times they're a better deal. We offer a savings account. We offer a checking account with very, very low fees, or if any fees at all. We offer all of the same types of loans. We offer car loans, other consumer loans. We offer mortgages. We offer business loans. So we are a financial institution, but where we're different is that we're a financial services cooperative. So what does that mean? Well, our customers, which we refer to as members, own the credit union. So all the profits that the organization produces goes back to the owners, which is the members. So we give that back to them, which is why we can provide better rates. We have better rates on loans and better rates on deposits because of that structure. And that's the biggest difference. There's a few other differences, but that's the biggest difference that I think matters to people, and why you should consider a credit union if you're not, and consider Suncoast if you're not already a credit union member.
Yep. And then also, do you have some credit unions have different stipulations? Like you stated earlier, that Suncoast started as a teacher's credit union. I know that the city employees have a
Mhm.
specific credit union there. So do you, and then others have a geographic area that
Right.
they serve. So does Suncoast have any stipulations, or can anybody join Suncoast Credit Union?
Yeah, the only stipulation that we have, we are a geographic community credit union now. So we have 39 counties within Florida that if you live, work, or worship or attend school in any of those 39 counties, you're eligible to join Suncoast.
Hmm.
So there's other community credit unions out there too, but there's also credit unions that you described that serve a common bond, such as the city employees. So there's both types of credit unions, but in Suncoast's case, we're able to serve the amount of members that we do because we're geographic based.
Excellent.
Um,
Excellent. That's, people don't really know the difference, but the credit union really, if you are looking to, to get a car loan, a house mortgage, those, really the interest rates are unbelievable. So, well,
Absolutely. I'll just jump in here real quick. So the best rate you can get on a car loan at Suncoast right now is 2.75. That's compared to the average in the market, in the Florida market, 4.14. So you can see the difference there of the better rate that you can get. And that's just one example.
yeah, that is excellent. Especially that tell everybody go out buy a new car. All right. So, what is the main purpose of the credit union? Is it exists to serve a certain segment of our community, but what other, like, why were credit unions developed in the first place?
Well, our story is during the Great Depression. Our founder Henry Claywell, who was an educator back in those times, formed the credit union because he felt like the banks and the other financial institutions at the time were taking advantage of the depression, and they were charging exorbitant rates to their customers. So he formed this credit union, this cooperative, so that the members that had money to save could lend that to the other members that needed to borrow. So that's really what the cooperative is about, and why our structure is the way it is. And that's just one example of how a credit union was formed. But the point is that people pool their money together to be able to provide more a better financial services value to each other, and that's really still the premise of our structure and our organization,
Yeah.
which is why we exist.
Yeah, and it's wonderful too, that it's not boards or shareholders or those type. It is a group that is working to help each other out and to lift up the community.
And I will just add one more point. I know that there's a lot of consumers out there that may be worried or wondering if we still have the same protection on their money as the banks do with the FDIC insurance. We have another insurance fund that is supported by the federal government called the NCUA. So we have the same coverage as the banks do. So your money is safe and secure at any credit union because of that.
Yeah, that's important too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why you don't need to put that money under the mattress. You need to put
That's right.
it in. Okay, well, we have, thank you so much, Kevin. I really do appreciate it. The information that you have shared with us is incredibly valuable. You are just a wonderful part. You and Suncoast are just an incredible part of our city. And thank you not only for what you have done during this COVID-19 by providing $1 million in financial assistance to those organizations that are helping our community, but for what you and your organization do every day to lift up our citizens here in Tampa, but as you said, in 39 counties throughout the state. So it really is wonderful, and I thank you for that. So
Thank you. It
now,
was our pleasure.
thank you. And now we're going to go to some of the questions, which this is from Ray Roa, Creative Loafing. And he wants to know, how can live music venues better their chances at getting federal aid? It seems like getting PPP involves both luck and good applications. But at this point, clubs that book live original music are in danger of not reopening. Well, I would suggest that you need to go to your local credit union, because the majority of the live music venues are probably considered small businesses smaller, the ones around here in our community. So Ray, I would continue checking with the banks, and the funding is still available this last round, correct, Kevin?
Yes,
Yes.
I think in the big fund, the large fund.
So make sure that you go and apply at Suncoast Federal Credit Union and pass the word to other individuals. I know that I've spoken to a couple of those that own small venue music, live music venues, specifically in Ybor City. And there, a lot of individuals that are struggling, and there are a lot of um, organizations that really rely on gathering large groups in close proximity that aren't going to be able to open for a while because there's really no way to social distance. Once that's all figured out, or hopefully we get on the other side of this virus, we'll be able to open up some of those organizations. But make sure that you apply for the PPP. Just keep going at it. Keep going at it. And I don't know that the applications have to be creative. I think that they just have to contain the specified information. So get somebody to help you out with those applications, or whoever you're asking the question for, because we want our live music venues, we want all of our small businesses to continue to thrive. All right, Stephen Madonna asks, what's the plan on reopening Busch Gardens, the casino and cruise operations? Time to bring money back to Tampa Bay. Okay, those I've talked to Busch Gardens on a number of occasions, and the aquarium has opened up, the Florida Aquarium, and that has been very successful. They're doing it by reservation only. Everyone has to wear a facial covering. They are distance separation for all of their guests, and it has been very, very popular. And so that is one, it's great that they can follow all those safety regulations. And two, it's wonderful that they are booked, that the public wants to come out and go to these venues. And then also it allows them to be profitable. Lowry Park Zoo, or Zoo Tampa, is getting ready to open on June 1st, in discussions with the CEO there. And then with Busch Gardens wants to go the route of Zoo Tampa, and they want to open up the animal exhibits first. And so they will have their safaris and so forth. They'll have all of that opened up before they open up rides. One of the stipulations of the governor's order on Friday was that any entertainment venues, or the Busch Gardens and Disney Worlds of our community, that they have to have a letter of approval or endorsement from the mayor and or city administrator and the county administrator as well before they're able to open up. That just came out on Friday, so I haven't spoken to the CEO at Busch Gardens today, but I'm sure that he'll be calling me. Their intent is to open up partially, as I stated before. Cruises, it's my understanding that they are getting ready to open up. Carnival was going to do a cruise. I just heard through the grapevine, and it filled up very quickly. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to social distance on the cruises and to change the food service, because the buffets are a thing of the past. So those they're going to have to make some dramatic changes there. And then also heard that the casinos are going to be opening up with safety precautions in place as well. Those are independent. I have no say over casinos or cruises, so they will send out their plans, and they'll be able to open up, I'm sure, based on the governor's orders. But there are plans for all three of those venues to open up. All right, for more information about the coronavirus, please go to tampagov.net. We still have our helpline information line open, call center for any questions that you may have, and that is 833 TPA info, 833 TPA info. So anything that you need to know, is on our website, One Tampa or Lift Up Local, the programs that you can avail yourself to, any information about COVID-19. It'll take you to Hillsborough County's website where you can fill out a survey that they have there about the coronavirus. I encourage all of you to do that. I also encourage you to get tested. The number is 813-272-5900. You can make an appointment and get tested. Also, please, the days are waning that you are able to fill out that census. I filled mine out. It takes all of 5 to 10 minutes and you're done. That is critically important because that determines how much federal funding we get into our community, and it also determines the representation, political representation that we will have in Washington, D.C., those individuals that will be fighting for what we need back here at home. So please be informed, stay safe, stay calm, be kind. You know, we want kindness to be more contagious than this virus here. And if at all possible, stay at home. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. We really appreciate it. I'll see all you guys on Wednesday. Have a great evening.